everybody, and welcome to my first video in my new series talking about the new book that I'm writing called The Protector's Code. Now, in this book, it is about a world where basically a big war happens, and a bunch of scientists try to create this new um element in order to create new powerful bombs, but instead it backfired and it wound up creating such a big explosion, it wound up killing a bunch of people and also creating a bunch of wormholes that led to the creation of bringing monsters and different types of godly beings into this universe. Now, basically, what I'll be talking about on this new series is new stuff I'm adding to the book, new characters, new like fighting styles and powerful moves. Um, guessing it's not really going to be that big of a series, but I just want to talk about it. So I guess the way that things start things off are the characters. Now, in this book, there are four main characters. Their names are Leo, Theodore, Vincent, and Brian. Now, they Leo, he is the sword person. He has 10 different swords equipped onto his body, all of, all that are different types for different situations, along with small padded armor around his body. He also has a gun and 5 different types of daggers on his chest. The next person is Theodore. He is the brawler of the crew. He has like different like heat powers that he can use to increase the power of his attacks, making him a lot stronger. The next person is Brian. He is the sharpshooter of the crew, and he has two revolvers that get um that gets upgraded over time by like higher ammo sizes, larger bullets, grappling hooks on them to bring enemies closer, stuff like that. Um, he also has eventually gets a big metal bat that's not really made of metal. It's made of a new material that I don't have a name for it, but it by putting pressure onto this material, it increases its weight, and he can increase it up to 1,000,000 pounds of weight. So yeah, and then we have Vincent. Vincent is I would say the main character of the group, even though there's not really a main character. He's kind of the main person of the story. I derived his main weapon from the trick saw from the game Bloodborne. Um, and it also changes a bunch. He also has a gun that can weaken people's skin, making flesh and skin, making them easier to hit. Along with having an ability where he can see things better than anyone else, so he can see things that other people can't see farther. He also like further in the story, he can see through walls. So that's the main crew. A type of fighting style that I would like to mention in this book. I don't really have a name for it, but basically it uses um the energy created from the heart to create electrical outputs that can do powerful things. And the person who mainly uses this is a soldier who gets introduced early in the book, but he has a bunch of metal parts since he used to work in the military and now he no longer does that. But since he was such an important person to the military, they decided to keep on replacing him with parts. And his character arc is him dealing with the fact that he's worried about at what point does he get injured so much and lose so much body parts and gets replaced by so much robotic parts, does he eventually no longer become a human? And that's kind of his main fear. And yeah. The next fighting style I would like to um the next person that I would like to talk about is a person that I've been thinking a lot of recently, and was originally a demigod, but he later took over the body of an actual god. He took over the god of darkness, and well, not darkness, dark energy, and as such, he has gods in this universe. Depending on how powerful they are, they're able to erase and create new, like change the laws of the universe, and depending on how strong they are, it will be how much they can change. And they don't really go, they can't go past the speed of light, but what they do is lower the speed that light is, so that way, by being perceived in a certain way, they are going the speed of light. They're going beyond the speed of light, even though it is not technically the speed of light. It's a kind of confusing, but it's an interesting system that where they can like create and do different things. But basically, what this guy can do, what he did, is that he erased the event horizon from the black hole, shrank it, but it still was able to maintain its shape and combine it with the dark energy to create this incredibly powerful orb and do powerful things with it. Um, at the start of the series, he's mainly shown to be a hands-on fighter, but later it is shown that he uses this different type of style where you just have a handle, and depending on how well the handle was created and how much of your soul you put into it, by using your soul, you can create a blade coming out of it, and the blade will be whatever situation that you need to be in. And he has the second most powerful handle out there, and that's why he doesn't use it a bunch. He also was kind of insane because one of his main things that he gets joy from is killing people in many different gruesome ways using his hands. Like he gets enthusiastic each time he manages to kill a person in a new way using his hands, and he basically gets an energy rush because of that. He also has an ability where he can trap people inside his like little like orb thing, and he will go inside of there, and basically um it will then show like the inside of it, and he can do a bunch of powerful things with it. Like if they have a cut on them, he can seep a little bit of the dark energy into their veins, and the dark energy compresses a bunch, so will compress their veins and eventually lead to the death of the person. So he's an incredibly powerful being, and the way I split this story up is into 9 parts. I'm currently working on the first part out of 9, but this character will get introduced in part 4 in his whole story. Um Later in the so yeah, that's mainly what the few characters that I've come up with at the current moment. There's also another person that I've been thinking also a lot about recently who is blind, but because he uses a technique whereby putting energy the into his eyes, he can see different things that other people can't. And not like the thing that the main character of this story, Vincent, has. He basically can see footsteps and little outlines of where people will go. And so if an untrained person is seeing it for the first time, they'll get incredibly confused because all they'll be seeing is just outlines and foot imprints everywhere, and they'll don't know what to do. But this guy, he really knows how to make it a powerful thing. And the last thing that I want to talk about is um a type of ore that is in this universe. It's called a time ore, and basically you can only find it in certain powerful chaotic creatures, um what's the word? Like pocket dimensions, and it will only rarely replace a regular ore that is in the universe. Um but basically what it does is it so this is where things get confusing because it doesn't stop time. It sort of just creates this alternate dimension that overlaps the current dimension, that thereby, from it being created, pauses the current dimension's movement. But since it is in a different dimension, you cannot interact with the things in the current dimension. And it basically is only for like repositioning, but you can also rewind time to as far back as you want to go, but you can also fast forward, but only up to the present. So that would only be if you want to fast forward stuff backwards. uh, I mean, rewind stuff backward and then fast forward stuff back to the present. Um, you also can do a thing called create things called chains of times, which when connected, it will completely stop the movement from from the body part that is connected to, and it can like stay in the air, and that's really it. And the character that I'm going to explain next, he has a time ore, and the way that he uses it is using this ability called um the fabric of time, where it's tiny strands of string that he can create that can do like also stop in place, cut through things, combine together to shoot out powerful things. But he uses it as a mask to cover his eyes because he can see many different things. He also uses the fighting style that is derived from real life. I think it's a Chinese fighting style where it's basically you don't really fight with your fists. You kind of just like slap and like hit people like that. And he's sort of like empowered that and have that be his main thing. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about so far, but later there will be further updates on the story. I'll actually be like reading different parts from the book. But at the current moment, I just wanted to give a very small overview of what I have so far. So thank you all for watching, and good night.